Welcome back to Midlife Oneup, everybody. Again, my name is Rob,
And I'm Matt.
and this week probably more banter. Um, this week we're going to be talking about a few things. We're going for a little more structured approach with the pod this week. So we're going to be talking this week about some controversy concerning the voice actress for Wuk Lamat, the latest expansion of Final Fantasy.
Wuk Lamat was well received by others and not so well received by other people from the way I understand it.
Yeah, yeah, we're going to get into that. The voice actress for that was, I think her name is Sena Bryer, I believe. I think.
That is correct.
Yeah, Sena Bryer. And we're also going to be discussing the storyline for the new main scenario quest line for Dawntrail. We're also going to get a little bit into the new patch, which continues the MSQ, as it's called, which is 7.1 and 7.11, which they patched like almost, I think, what was it, like a week right after 7.1?
Yeah, 1 week after the other, which was awesome.
Yeah. So that's what we're going to go with, and we're going to talk about this week. We'll also get into our usual shenanigans about other things. Oops, sorry about that. And yeah, so let's start. What do you want to start with?
Well, let's start off with the 7.11.
All right, cool. What are you thinking about 7.11 so far?
Well, I like the beast tribes that they've included with this further development. I always do like beast tribe and the alliance raid.
I'm a huge fan of Beast Tribes. It's one of the main things I do um, in the game. I think it's one of the main things you and I both do in the game. Helps us level up our all jobs. Also helps us get some sweet, cool loot. Uh,
Yeah,
most
that's half the fun right there.
most notable is getting the manatee, which I'm very happy. Personally, I'm very happy that we didn't have to wait till we maxed out the rep to get the mount.
That is a hilarious mount. It's very funny.
It is. It's a great mount. Let's see if it comes up here on my randomizer while we're talking. But yeah, the for those of you who are either playing the game or not really, throughout the main quest line, and hopefully I'm not spoiling for anybody, you do run into some manatees, which Matt and I are Florida natives, and manatees are kind of a Florida native thing. And you grew up, knowing about manatees, reading about manatees, and seeing them in the game, and on top of that, seeing that they can fly in the game is kind of amazing.
Yeah, a flying manatee is hilarious. I don't care where you're from.
I think I think the more hilarious part of the flying manatee is the splish splash mechanic.
Yes, that's a very funny mount. No matter how it is, it's
Yeah.
just so super fun, splashing around. It's awesome.
This is the manatee mount, not as hilarious as the freaking rhino mount. Uh, I don't even know what you would call that. Would you call that like a? I don't even know. Is that like a stuffed rhino mount?
It's like a stuffed toy rhino. I don't even know, but it's one of my favorites ever since I got it. It's so ridiculous. It's super funny.
And what's the name of that mount again? What's it called?
Oh, I don't remember. I just put it in my favorites. Let me look it up for you.
Yeah. That for anyone who doesn't know, that is from the Fall Guys event that just happened, and it's what was
Rias. It's the Rias. Rhiyes.
okay. There you go, the Rias mount, and it's. I mean, it is what it is. Does that have a special emote, or is it just that?
It's unfortunately it's just this. I really wanted it to have another remote, but at least you can see the wheels roll on the bottom of it as I go
Yeah,
by.
yeah,
It's
it's
kind of
true.
it's kind of great.
It's true. Matt and I were talking about how awesome it would be if that Rias, the special animation on the Rias, would be that it pulled an Ace Ventura Call of was it Call of Nature? Ace Ventura
Yeah, the second one when nature calls.
When Nature Calls. Thank you. And like the special emote is that your player character gets extruded from the rear end of the mount, like 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 the rhino is giving birth to you, and your character has to be all hot and sweaty and covered in slime while you're doing it.
Gotta hot in these rhinos.
The other thing that you can get from the Fall Guys event, or we're able to get from the Fall Guys event, is this sweater, which I have here. It has this cool glowing heart effect. I mean, star effect. With the crown here. The original color is what my friend Matt here is modeling on his avatar. You'll see the full beanie effect, the sweater, the leggings or jeggings, and the shoes. I believe the shoes too, right? Those shoes are.
Yeah, all of it. Yes.
So that's the full outfit right there. Are those the original colors for all of those
Yeah.
items?
Yeah. I haven't colored any of it. This is the way it is.
Okay, so that's the original colors, no dyes. I dyed mine. This is actually suit black coloring, but it fades in on the bottom with like that purple color. So it's kind of neat. So what else do you want to talk about when it comes to the 7.11 patch? How do you like the Juno content?
I like the Juno content quite a bit. The raid, I know that it has a lot of throwbacks inside the raid itself.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not as experienced in the Final Fantasy realm as you are, so you probably noticed a lot more of the throwbacks that I did. What are some of the throwbacks that you noticed?
Well, I mean, the entire Juno area is a callback to Final Fantasy
Right.
XI, the Juno area in Final Fantasy XI.
Even the music, from what I hear, is.
Yeah, the music is a callback as well. It's a very big slice of nostalgia for me. The Shadow Lord is also a big callback. The whole thing is actually a great callback. It reminds me a lot of my time in Final Fantasy XI, which I played Final Fantasy XI when it first came out back in the day. Me and my cousin Andy, we both downloaded the game. We installed it on our laptops and we played the heck out of it. We made macros for callouts for our ultimates so that we could chain ultimates with our team members. We had whole macros that used the translator feature in Final Fantasy XI because a lot of the players at the time were from Japan, because the game had actually been out in Japan for a while, Final Fantasy XI, and then they brought out the North American client, and that's when we came on, and we both leveled up. And I remember how hard that game was. It was a seriously hard game. What made me quit was getting my first piece of AF armor on my Dark Knight. And after going through the job change and going through all that and having my guildmates help me get my first piece of AF armor, having someone train a giant mob while we were basically grinding XP out in the field, and that mob killed all of us. And because I had just leveled, really, I de-leveled from the death.
Oh my goodness, that would be ridiculously frustrating.
Yeah, I de-leveled, lost XP because there was an XP penalty at the time. Now I don't know if that's still in the game. Honestly, I'll be honest with you. And I de-leveled and my AF armor was unequipped. That's just what it was. I mean, it was still in my inventory and all that, but it was just unequipped. And that really demoralized me, and I was like, yeah, I'm out. I'm out. It was so hard to do anything there solo, though, you know? But it was a different time. I mean, even World of Warcraft, when that came out at first, it wasn't difficult to do solo content at all. You were able to do solo leveling and questing no problem in World of Warcraft. You could not do that in Final Fantasy XI when it first came out. You just couldn't. I mean, in the newbie zones, you could. You can go after a mob and take them out, but you could be level 6 or 7, and if you had 2 level 3 mobs that came at you, you were gonna die. That was just it.
If you can remember back when we first met, I was playing a game. It was a free-to-play
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Free-to-play game that I was online playing, and in my head I was like, this game is it. This game is super fun. And I tried to talk you into come playing it. So you were like, I don't know. And you were like super into WoW at the time.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was called FLYFF. and I was really into playing it.
Oh
Shout
yeah.
out to my buddy Brad who got me into that game, and so I was playing that. I talked to Robin to coming over, and he played it for I don't know what 5 minutes, and you were
Yeah.
like, "Get out of this game,
Yeah. 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 I was like, nope.
leave it immediately, and come play WoW.
Yeah. Yeah. I believe
Just stop it."
I believe my words were a little more explicit, but yes. Yes,
Yes,
that was the
much
general
more
gist.
explicit. So so that was the moment I left the world of the free to play Fliff, and I came into World of Warcraft. That was during what was that second expansion called? That was
Burning Crusade.
the Burning Crusade. Yeah, that's when I started in World of Warcraft, and ever since then, didn't look back and started playing MMORPGs.
Yeah. Ever since then, you have been steadily my roll dog in all the MMORPGs I've played. Yeah.
Everything, man. It's just we do it everything together.
So let's see. Patch 7.11, we talked about the Juno. We talked about the Beast Tribe quests.
What am I missing?
Well, the new dungeon's pretty damn cool.
Oh yeah.
The new dungeon is cool. That would be the Yue. I'm gonna murder this, so I apologize. Yue Yawata Field Station, which is a level 100 dungeon. You have to have an average item level of 690 to go into it, so you do need to have a little bit of a decent amount of gear to be able to get into this dungeon. The dungeon itself rewards great gear. I think it's item level 710. I could be wrong.
I think it's 705.
Oh, 705. Okay, 705. So it's not bad. It's a great stopgap, considering that during the original MSQ, you would get up there with 690, right? You would get 690 at level 99, and then you would have to raid to get 700 and 710, right? I believe. And
Correct.
then, or you can craft.
Right, you could easily craft yourself, or there's actually some crafted gear that if you go to the right time, I'm not gonna say when, because I don't know, I might be making money off of these things. If you go to at the right time to the board, you can find some of these pieces for really cheap.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. He's not profiting off of this advice at all.
It's fine. Everything's fine.
Totally fine. He is not going to make a single cent off of you. I promise.
Fine.
He might make several cents at the same time, but not single cent.
How much gil did we have in the box yesterday?
0. I believe 0. 0
when
was
you
the
have
answer.
A moment, go take a peek.
All right, let me go take a peek now. I was just in Doc Poga picking up my dailies. And
I may have had an alt or two visit there a day or so ago.
Oh, yeah? Okay. All right, let's see. We're in the vault. All right, let's see. Oh, okay. That's a good amount on the good old savings and loan that we have here. It's a decent amount. 475,000 gil. I mean, it's not a huge amount by Daddy Warbuck standards.
So you can use that to make some improvements on the house here if you want.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. I was thinking about doing something Christmas related, but I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I'd like to do that. Season it up.
I will at least do the lobby up with some season's greetings stuff.
Sounds like a good plan.
So let's see. One of the things we want to talk about also is the new raid, which is for everyone who's actually plays the game. You might know that the style of raid that they released is not a continuation of the heavyweight or the light heavyweight that they had previously.
No, not at all.
It's more along the lines of the B2 Near Automata raid that they put out, which was actually a crossover for not the last expansion. That was with it wasn't with Endwalker. It was with Shadowbringer.
Correct.
Yeah. So it's very much along that vein. Great
Which
raid.
was awesome. That was a
yes.
fantastic raid.
I appreciate any raid where I don't have to actually collect tokens to get a piece of gear. and I could just get it. I could
That's
just roll for
fun.
the piece of gear and either win it or not. I don't. But see, I come from a long line of that Suicide Kings type of role, which is
And
really.
if it makes you feel any better, I know in the previous podcast we had,
Yeah.
we did talk about how my loot drops were. I did get a piece to drop for me
So great.
immediately,
So
so I
great.
just wanted to
That's
let
so
you know.
great. That's great. Thank you. I appreciate you telling me all that. I'm so happy for you. I'm glad you said that, bastard. So, let's see. What else? Let's talk about a little bit about the criticisms regarding Dawntrail, which is the new expansion for Final Fantasy XIV Online, and it came out in July. Now, Matt and I were not here for its release. We have been here for the release of every expansion prior to that. But for Dawntrail, we were heavily in Destiny 2 at the time. And I was, Matt more than I was, really, even though I was buying the new seasons for Destiny 2. And there's a new season going out right now, which looks pretty great. Um, I was mostly just playing a lot of single player games and working my day job and coming home and passing out from working my day job and then working more single player games. But so we came into Dawntrail in August, right? Around mid August.
Correct. We came in at the same time.
Yeah. And August is like when we came into the new expansion and we decided, well, let's give this a whirl. And so we came into it with no expectations. I purposefully didn't see any reviews on it. I didn't. I purposely stayed away from social media. I didn't pay attention to it. The only thing I saw were the official trailers for the expansion. I did not see any reviews. And I know Matt doesn't actually. He's not a reviewer or like a review troller or anything like that. So
Nope. I don't give a crap about other people's opinions, to be honest with you.
exactly. So I came into it fresh, and Matt came into it fresh. So we'll talk about our opinion on the expansion, and then we'll talk about what the inner tubes have to say about the expansion. Which honestly, I'm just gonna preview it right now and say we were both kind of disappointed with some of the reactions that the player base had. Because if you've been part of the player base for Final Fantasy XIV for a while, there's one thing you can say about the player base is generally full of really kind and social people. You know, not like social butterflies, but people who will help you and people who will are more than happy to help and more than happy to give you a compliment and give you pointers, like constructive feedback about your ability in a raid or in a dungeon, as opposed to what we were used to in World of Warcraft, which is a toxic cesspool.
Oh my gosh, that's the worst. But one thing I have enjoyed most of all in this game is whether I'm DPS, whether I'm heal, whether I'm tanking.
Yeah,
Tanking and healing is the thing that makes me the most nervous. It's because
yeah,
those are high pressure areas. But the people you play with, majority of the time, they're like, "Hey, man, it's cool. Everyone starts somewhere."
yeah,
That's that's what I hear most of the time,
yep,
and it's awesome, and I love it, and I reciprocate that.
yeah. I do not. I am very much the type of. I jumped into tanking when I first started playing Final Fantasy XIV Online. I did it without Matt. I actually started playing this game long before Matt did. And my attitude was, I'm going to tank. And if people don't like the way I tank, I don't care. And if someone pulls aggro, then they can keep it. Less work for me. And that attitude has pretty much stayed with me the whole time. And also, I'm the same way about healing. Like I don't really care. Like I'm doing a critical role. If you want to do it, feel free. If you complain about my healing, don't be surprised when the only healing you get is second wind, and that's because you gave it to yourself. And I'm not gonna heal you. I am a vindictive man. I'm also
Bandages only.
yeah, yeah. I'm a very vindictive and petty person. Matt actually is a very considerate and nice person. Let's get into it. So my opinion, and Matt's gonna give his, and I think we see eye to eye on a lot of it. Is the storyline for this expansion was not a bad storyline. it just it just did seem to drag on in certain places. Okay, when you compare it to the way that previous expansions were, it really did seem to drag on. Now, if we're gonna be fair, some things to talk about. The previous expansions had a well-defined origin point and a well-defined end goal and a well-defined enemy that everyone can get behind, and that was just the end of it, right? Like we were working towards defeating the Asians all this time.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that was a very easy goal to be focused on,
Yeah.
and there was many points where they could toss a surprise in there,
Oh yeah.
and they played emotional cards on certain deaths
Absolutely.
of
Yes.
people,
Oh
and
yes.
that blew me away, and especially on the early parts,
Oh yeah.
because there was parts where you had to keep your mouth shut because you knew certain things were
Yes.
coming up. For
Yes.
me,
Yes, I did,
it,
which was very
it,
difficult.
and I appreciated it. So I would get online here and I would start talking to him like, "Oh my gosh, such and such person died." He's like, "Yes, I know.
Wasn't that horrible?
It was horrible."
And it was very difficult for me to keep my mouth shut, but I did, and I wanted him to have the same experience that we all have as Final Fantasy XIV players, which is the reveal. My opinion is that yeah, it dragged on. It had a lot of moments where it dragged on, and a lot of moments where you were like, okay, what's the point? What are we doing? You know, obviously they set up Wuk Lamat to be the hero, right? That we were propping up, that we were helping, as opposed to what was the norm up to that point, which is that we were the hero and everyone was propping us up, keeping us going and giving us a focus, and we were going. And it seemed like the focus for the new expansion is now we're kind of like the OG hero. We're kind of like that old school guy that everyone knows about or person, and it's like we're a legend, right? And people are like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But now it's time for us to be that person that schools the youngster. So that kind of led to a weird moment where we didn't really know what was going on. At least for me, I didn't really know what was going on until we started seeing some of it when they introduced Wuk Lamat's brother, right? The older brother, the one that was actually Galul Jaja's real biological kid.
Correct.
Right.
That's when you really started to see some of what could really be going on.
Yeah, a little bit of that antagonist energy. He had that antagonist vibe going on. And but up until that point, I'll be totally honest, I didn't like Wukamat's character, but it wasn't because of some of the things that you read about online. Honestly, none of those things were a factor for me. What were factors for me was that I felt that that character's dialogue sucked, not the voice acting, the dialogue, the writing sucked. The writing for that character was very one dimensional. It was very uninspired. And honestly, I don't think anyone could have delivered those lines any better. I mean,
No, no,
nobody.
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who delivered those lines. It could have been anybody, and it's like you said. You can only do so much with what you got.
Yeah. We see plenty analogs to that in movies. Okay? You'll get a movie with an all star cast, people who can act, and they've won awards for their acting. But they get a movie with really bad writing, and it doesn't matter how great they present that writing when they speak it, it's still bad dialogue. And bad dialogue makes them look like they lost a step. Now, before anyone, on the off chance that this whole segment becomes viral and people just start sending us hate mail and hate messages and hate DMs, I'm not saying that the writers for Final Fantasy XIV or the development team or that our Lord and Savior Yoshi P suck. I'm saying that the writing for those characters, including Wuk Lamat, was very. It could have been better. And it has been better in the past. Tural is a mishmash of the Americas. Okay? We have Mexican culture in Tural. We have Central and South American culture in Tural. We have American Western culture in Tural. And we also have like what people see America as now in Tural. We have the cyber hyper futuristic version of what that culture is, okay, which is what we see in Solution 9. Okay, obviously it's not 100%, it's not a 100% translation, and that's just my take, that's just my opinion on it. I believe that that's what Tural represents. There are some places where you can see that they took cultures from other parts of the world and mashed it into like the Western culture, but it's all still, in my opinion, Western culture. Okay,
Every bit
and
of it is. Every bit of it is.
every bit of it, yeah.
And there's, I have no qualms with any bit of it. I like the attempts and the bits and the pieces of it. There's some that I like way more than others.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
I know that when I saw Solution 9 for the first time, my jaw hit the floor. I just absolutely fell in love with it immediately. And
Yeah.
amongst some other places as well. It was some places I was just not so blown away, but I still kind of liked every place though.
So did I. I mean, I liked all of it, and while I enjoyed each mini story as you go along the expansion, I did struggle to see where the overall theme was. Okay, and it really wasn't until really late in the game where you see where the overarching theme was headed. And one of the criticisms that we, or at least I heard from some reviewers online, notably from, let's see, Ember's Arcade, is that Wuk Lamat's view, if we understood each other, we would get along better, is a little naive. And because of that, it fails. Because of the naivete of her outlook on life, it fails. Okay.
I don't even like that the way you say it right now. It's like, okay, I understand you, but that doesn't mean I have to like you.
In my opinion, I don't agree with that. I think the naivete is something that we all need in life, because naivete actually is a great counterpoint to the constant narcissism and sarcasm and just gloomy outlook that people have, you know. And the message behind it is solid, and it's a message that I can get behind. Not because I think that it's easy, because it's not. If you live here in the United States, you can see that it's not easy to understand one another and to get along as one people. It's not easy, man. It is the hardest thing in the entire universe to do. Okay, but I don't think that that's why it fails. I think it fails because the writers just wrote really flat, stale dialogue. That's it. It was just bad dialogue, if I'm being completely honest.
And you cannot pin that
On the voice actor.
on, yeah, you cannot pin that on the voice actor, no matter who it is, what they are, does not matter.
No.
It's so, the toxicity, it's unnecessary.
I agree.
It's not helping anything. So
I agree.
that could just stop.
Yeah. And it's one of my, I was really disappointed when I read about it, because when I finished the main MSQ and I got to level 100, that's when I actually looked up the reviews, because I was interested to see if other people agreed with me about the game feeling a little flat. It just felt a little flat, like, oh, well, where's this going? I couldn't tell, I was feeling a little disappointed also with the writing. I was like, okay, well, and then imagine my surprise and my intense disappointment when the cesspool that the internet is bled into my Final Fantasy XIV, and some of the players decided that the most important thing that they had to do was terrorize this poor voice actress, and make her feel like a less than a human being online. And I don't think anyone can say with a serious face that words can't hurt you, and that it's too bad, too sad if she got hurt feelings over it. She should just get over it. No, no, I'm gonna deny that because if that were the truth, then when I say something to you, you wouldn't be bothered either. But you know what? Words do matter, and words do hurt people's feelings. And having being bombarded by thousands of people online telling you the same thing is gonna play with anyone's psyche. So
absolutely. I mean, it in more than one way, to the point of absolute disaster. And I don't even want to go down that road.
No, exactly. And she'll probably never hear our little podcast. But seriously, Ms. Bryer, I apologize on behalf of the whole entire human species for what you had to endure. That's pretty crappy. I think you did a wonderful job portraying Wuk Lamat, the ever optimist. And
absolutely, I enjoyed it very much.
And obviously, Wuk Lamat's character was a very sheltered character. That's what makes her have that naivete. She's a very sheltered character. She's a princess, basically. And I think you did a good job. I think the writing kind of let you down as a voice actress, but that's not on you. Yoshi P and the development team have already spoken out, as we saw in that Eurogamer article that I linked to you earlier in the week. Yeah, he knew. He knows. They're aware, and they're going to make some corrections moving forward. And as they've done in the past, and I have total faith that they will, and they'll make the game a lot better than it is already. That's all I have to say on the game's direction and the expansion and what I think about what's been going on with the so-called controversy, which was just a whole bunch of haters being haters. You know what I mean?
I hope that she continues to do voice acting, especially for Square Enix in Final Fantasy World, because I enjoyed it very much.
Yeah, so do I. So after that, let's see. Do you want to talk about your take on the expansion pack and anything else?
As far as the expansion, I've covered what I've liked so far. I've really been enjoying tanking right now. Honestly, I haven't done a lot of big group tanking or late game tanking, but doing some of the other roles, mainly casting and physical DPSing.
Are you finding tanking to be more fun than the physical DPSing or the casting, or about the same?
I'm finding tanking to be more forgiving.
More forgiving, okay.
For obvious reasons. I can take a hit or two and not go down in a heap. But as far as the rest of the expansion, that's all I have to say about that. What about you?
Yeah, that's it for me for the expansion and the whole controversy and everything. But I will say that next week I'm going to talk about my backbone, because I did get my backbone. It came in this week, and I've been playing with it, goofing around with it. I have some videos that I posted on our Discord. If you guys want to check that out, if you're ever there, you'll see that we have a couple videos in the Midlife Oneup channel that I posted. Me playing Final Fantasy XIV and also Destiny 2. Via the backbone, and it's actually a very neat thing, but I'll put my full thoughts next week, because there's a lot to it and I need a little more time to unpack it.
Quick correction. Last week we were talking about Star Wars, and you brought up the Ewoks.
Yes,
in the Ewoks in the Empire Strikes Back, and
yes, I was called on this.
As everybody else knows in the Star Wars realm, we
really
all know
everybody else. Really, you're gonna say it like that? As everybody else knows, except for Rob the moron.
Empire Strikes Back, Jack. They were around in Return of the Jedi.
Yes,
so I just wanted to remind you that in case you had forgotten.
Well, thank you. I'm so glad you reminded me of my faux pas. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. I'm here to be of service.
So yeah, next week I will be talking about Backbone. I'll also be talking about how much it costs, because it's not a free thing. You buy the equipment and then you have to pay a monthly service because they have an app and they provide the service of connecting you to everything. All right, so I think that's it for this week. We'll call it quits there. Um,
All right.
so until next week, hit us up on. You'll find us as Midlife One Up on Instagram. You'll also find us on YouTube. You'll find us on uh, Podbean also as Midlife One Up. If you use Podbean to get the audio version of our One Up of our podcast, I feel, hey, it's great. Thank you for listening to the audio version, but you do get to miss out on some other cool things. Um, I will be mixing in some video on the final version of this, so you guys will probably see that if you watch it there. Oh, and we're also on Blue Sky. So midlifeoneup.bsky dot whatever it is. We're on Blue Sky. You can look us up there. So until next week, this is Rob,
This is Matt.
and we'll see you again. Try not to break your back getting out of the couch.